It's 11:56. Rishi Sunak concluding his speech there to the nation, effectively, turning around and walking back towards the door of 10 Downing Street, which will now, of course, be his front door. It was a good speech, that. I mean, I've got three obvious problems with it, the two of which are absolutely necessary. He has to pay some sort of tribute to his predecessors, but it was quite interesting that he chose to describe Liz Truss's policies as a mistake. He could have stayed quiet about them. I don't think he could have bigged them up or pretended that things had gone well, but he made it clear that part of his job is to fix some of the mess made by his immediate predecessor, and then warm words for the one before that, Boris Johnson, as well. I think that gets chalked up as absolutely necessary. And then, of course, still, and I've told you before, we're at least one, probably two, maybe more Conservative leaders away from reality recognition when it comes to Brexit, but that nod towards unleashing the benefits of Brexit was unfortunate. But that was a good speech. And in fact, that will have played very well, and regardless of whether you think this should or shouldn't matter, the fact of the matter is it does, that will play very well in financial circles. And indeed on the world stage, it does look as if after a bizarre period of British politics dating back to the middle of 2019 when Boris Johnson effectively overthrew Theresa May, it does look as if a grown-up is back in the building.
Yes, it was a good speech from Rishi Sunak, especially after yesterday where there were a few gremlins in the auto queue. But Rishi Sunak saying that basically the country now faced a profound economic crisis, and he pointed very knowingly to Liz Truss's mistakes, saying that he had been elected in part to fix them. He said that difficult decisions will need to be made, and of course that relates to spending cuts that we will presumably get in the fiscal statement on Monday. But he made the point of saying, and this is the conversation you were having earlier about being ideological or pragmatic, and trying to bring some pragmatism to his premiership, saying that he will bring the same compassion that he brought during the pandemic with the furlough scheme to helping people through the current economic crisis. He went on to say that trust has to be earned, and he will earn the country's trust. And he also was quite critical, I thought, of Boris Johnson. OK, he had
yes.
Because he talked about bringing integrity and professionalism to government, but he also tried to draw a line, and this is the argument of Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nadine Dorries and Christopher Chope saying, well, actually, the 2019 election victory was Boris Johnson's mandate. It doesn't belong to anybody else, whether that's Rishi Sunak or Liz Truss. And Rishi Sunak saying, well, actually, the 2019 mandate was a Conservative mandate. It doesn't belong solely to Boris Johnson. And that's the argument around, of course, having a general election. That's not just to Labour, though. That is also, of course, to detractors, his own detractors within the Conservative Party, and trying to appear, finally, I think, as the statesman, saying, I know the high office I have accepted and I hope to live up to its demands. A respect, of course, for the fact that he has now become Prime Minister, the highest office in the land, not since John Major, of course, as a leader Gordon Brown, made the transition from number 11 into number 10.
And as you say, the audiences are multiple, and they are all looking for different things. So, I mean, I don't know that many people would necessarily agree with him that the mandate delivered at the end of 2019 was for the Conservative Party. It was, unfortunately for him, built largely on Boris Johnson's lies. And so, you know, whether it's on Boris Johnson's electoral appeal or his lies, or actually, as I think the truth probably is, on both, his lies were his electoral appeal, then he's going to struggle to sell that. But he doesn't really need to in the short term.
And I think in the first instance, you're quite right to say that. I'm sure we will see the reaction from the markets in the coming hours will be positive to that speech. And as you say, the quote-unquote, the grown-ups are now firmly back in charge.
Well, I didn't quite say that. I said we have the impression that a grown-up is back in the building.
Okay.
It's